So question 44 is asking us to simplify this expression. So I'm going to start just by rewriting it. We have 2 times the square root of 20 minus 3 times the square root of 125 plus 3 times the square root of 80. And so what we want to do with this is break apart the terms in the square root into factors that include a square root term that is easy to evaluate. So for example, with this first term, we know that 4 times 5 equals 20. So we can break this apart into 2 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Because we know that the square root of 4 is something we can easily evaluate. So let's do this for the other terms as well. Second term, I get minus 3. The square root of 125, I'm going to break up into the square root of 25 times the square root of 5. Because 25 times 5 is 125. Last term, we get 3 times the square root of 16 times the square root of 5. And so for example, if this last term isn't easy to see how you can break it apart, because maybe you can't quite see that 16 goes into 80 an even number of times, you can also break this apart in steps. So maybe you can see that it can be broken into square root of 4 and the square root of 20. But then you can see, oh, 20, I know I can break up into 4 and 5. So this gives you a square root of 4 times the square root of 4 times the square root of 5, which brings you back to the square root of 16 times the square root of 5. So that's just another way to do it in steps. But let's go back to our expression. So now I'm going to evaluate the square roots that are easy to see. So I get 2 times the square root of 4 is 2. I'll keep my square root of 5. Minus 3, square root of 25 is 5. Keep the square root of 5. Plus 3, the square root of 16 is 4. Root 5. Okay, and now I'm just going to continue to evaluate this. So I have 4 times the square root of 5. 3 times 5 is 15. The square root of 5 plus 3 times 4 is 12, square root of 5. And the nice thing here is that all our terms are multiplied by the square root of 5, so we can combine them because they're actually like terms. So I have 4 root 5s minus 15 root 5s plus 12 root 5s. If I do 4 minus 15 plus 12, that gives me 1 times root 5, which just evaluates to root 5. So that's our answer. When we simplify this expression, we get root 5.